there, this is Ananya and today's topic is inheritance. I've personally enjoyed working with inheritance concepts and I hope I can make you like it as well. Alright, I'm going to start off with a real life example to get your underlying idea of inheritance clear. So let's take a nice fluffy mother cat who eventually gives birth to 4 children. 3 of them look almost like her, whereas the 4th one looks quite different. The color has changed, it isn't that fluffy also, but it still has qualities of the mother cat. So treat the mother cat as the parent class and her kids as the child class, wherein they inherit genes from the parent but are not entirely the same. This is an example of single level inheritance. Now, take the 4th kitten who has grown up to be a nice fluffy cat and pure white in color. Look at her children now. They are of mixed shades, that is white and grey and somewhere in between too. So the properties have been inherited from both the mother cat and also the grandmother cat. This is an example of multiple inheritance. I really hope this helped you give an insight into what we'll be doing today and how inheritance works. Now it's time to get coding. Let's get started. Okay, so let's start off with a pretty simple example. As you all can see on the screen, I have got a class named pets with a method inside it named info, which takes in several parameters. The most compulsory one being self, right? We all know that. Now what I'm doing is I'm simply creating an object and to that I'm passing the parameters to the method info. So what basically is happening here is I'm taking an animal such as dog and I'm categorizing it down. For example, the dog belongs to the kingdom Animalia. Then it is of the order carnivore, it has 4 legs and it barks. So just in case you all need it, let me give you all a quick example of how it runs, okay? This is how it works. Now coming to the point of actually adding inheritance to it. Let's say other than pets, we have another class named as cats. So what we would do is, let me show this to you. Hold on. Okay, so here is a class named cat and what it does is it'll take another method that says another sound. For example, let me say there are 2 sounds a cat makes, that is purring and meowing. Okay, so here's our parent class pets. Now understand the syntax of how you can create inheritance. That is, you give your new class name, that is, let's say class cat, and to that you pass the name of the class you want to inherit inside parentheses, that is pets. And that's as simple as that. Now let's actually dive into how we can implement it. I have my previous object D1 and D2 for the dog. Now for the cat part, I have C1 is equal to cat and also C1 dot another sound. This is normal for us. Now the main concept, if you can look here, I have C1 dot info also. Now where does info method lie? It lies in the pets class. And hence you can see C1, the object C1 which belongs to the cat class is actually inheriting a method of the pets class, that is method info. Now this is known as single level inheritance, that is one class cat is inheriting the properties of the class pets also, because you see a cat has every property a pet has. Whatever objects or other say attributes we have given in here, that is kingdom, name or order, legs and so on. It's the same, right? Now this is single level. Let's run it and show it to you. And there you go. The first part you have for the dog and the second one you see how nicely it has inherited everything, plus it has accessed its own method also. This is an example of single level inheritance. Now let's move forward to multi-level inheritance. What happens here is, let's say I have a typical type of cat, let's say a Himalayan cat, and I create a separate class for it. And what that Himalayan cat class does is, It basically has its own method again. I'm doing all this just to simplify things for you, and you all can see how to actually use all these concepts. Now, what I'm doing is I'm basically giving a type of color. Let's say a Himalayan cat also has a blue shade to it. So if you can see, I have the parameter as cat. That is, class Himalayan cat inherits the class cat. Next, the class cat inherits the pets class. You see how it's going from bottom to up, Himalayan cat to cat, and then cat to pets, right? Because Himalayan cat has every property of the cat class, and the cat class has every property of the pets class. And ultimately, the Himalayan cat class can also access every attribute method of the class pets. Now, it's pretty simple of what we did previously. You again create an object of the child class, okay? Make sure it's always an object of the child class. And then what you can do is simply call h1.info, which belongs to the pets class, and then h1.another sound, h1.properties, which belongs to the Himalayan cat class itself. Now let's run this. I'm going to remove D1 for now. It's not necessary. There you go. This is the result of the C1 object, right, from the cat class. And now for the H1 object, this is your entire result, where you have sound also and colors also. So you see how it's basically extracting everything. It gets Himalayan cat too, it gets cat class also, and it gets the pets class also. I hope you all got this. This was about multi-level. You're going one after the other from bottom to top. Now, multiple will also be pretty simple, but let me just explain the concept to you. What you do is you create a class animal which inherits from class fish and class cat. Okay, it inherits from class fish and cat, but class fish is no way related to class cat, and that is an example of multiple inheritance. Now what I want you all to show is, I wasn't adding any init methods in any of the previous examples, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the init method to both class pets and class cat. It's pretty simple. What I'm simply doing is def init, I'm taking self, and I'm just printing in class cat, and in the case of class pets, I'm saying in class pets. It's as simple as that. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. For now, let me just comment out the Himalayan cat. It's not necessary right now. Okay, so as you can see, this is basically all I have. The only addition is I have two init methods and each of the classes. That is the parent class and the cat, that is the child class, the cat class. Now what you see is happening, the first time we get in class cat is being printed. Okay, so obviously the object is being called and it automatically initializes itself and it prints in class cat. Next, what we have is whenever we are printing c1.info, we have all the information being printed along with our next method, that is another sound. Now this is pretty simple, right? In class cat. Now what if I also wanted to see how in class pets is being printed? What you do then is you use the super keyword, okay? Or let's say the super method. So what you do is super, you call the super method dot the init. Now, whenever you use super, it will access anything that you tell it to from the parent class. Super, so that is pets class. So remember two names, parent class as super class and child class is the subclass. So this is basically also known as subclassing. Now that we have called super, let's run this. Now let's see what's being printed after what. Now if you notice, you have in class pets before in class cat. Now this is what you must remember carefully. If you did not have super, it would have initialized the child class first. But now that you have super, it will first initialize the init method of the parent class and then the child class, or let's say the subclass. And rest everything basically remains the same. Now there's something that I want to talk about, or let's say before that, a pretty important thing that y'all might have understood by now. That is, the child class can inherit everything from the parent class, but the parent class cannot access a single thing of the child class. It's pretty logical, right? For example, me and my mom, I can access anything from my mother, right? That is, when I was born, I got genes from both my parents, but my genes cannot transfer to my parents, right? That is basically impossible. And that's pretty much the same logic here. Now coming to a pretty important point that I want to talk about, that is method resolution order. And now I'm going to bring back my child class again of Himalayan cat. And what I'm simply going to do is, we had learned this, let's say, back in our functions lecture, all the possible functions there. We used to use the help function. And I'm going to use the same thing today. I am using help to list out all the attributes and methods that the Himalayan cat child class has accessed from its superclasses. Now, if I print that, let me show you all what you all can see and learn from it. I'm sure you can see all of this. Let's leave out our previous answers, rather say the results. So I have my class Himalayan cat. Now let's see how it goes. Firstly, you will have the method resolution order saying Himalayan cat. So firstly, it will look for any method or init function that you want to access in the child class itself. Then it will go up to the cat class, and next it will go to the topmost pets class, right? In case you cannot find it in Himalayan cat, it will go to cat. If it's not found in cat, it will go to pets. And lastly, you see this built-in object. Now every class inherits from this base object class, okay? So it will go and search for any attribute or property that you want to find. Now have a look here. If you have methods defined here are the properties. Now where does properties belong? In the Himalayan class itself, Himalayan cat class. Next, what you see here, methods defined here is done. Now what methods it's inheriting from the class cat? That is the initializer and also the method another sound. Similarly, the methods being inherited from the class pets, that is the info method. So you see it goes from bottom to top and accesses pretty much everything. Alright, I think this is all I have to say about inheritance. I hope you all got it. In case you all didn't, just have a quick look at it again. I'm sure you will understand. Bye-bye. I'll see you all soon. And I hope you all actually like inheritance now. Alright, bye-bye.